Yeah, you rolling?
Whenever you're ready.
Let's roll it.
Rolling? Camera roll? You don't click it or nothing?
Yeah.
Where's the? There we go.
All right, here we go.
All right. I'm here with Whiskey Throttle sponsored athlete and recent UTV Takeover Huckfest champion, Colton Bybee. Colton, how you doing?
I'm doing really well.
Awesome. Before we get into talking about your weekend at Sound Hollow, tell me how this started. Tell me what got you into jumping side-by-sides.
Well, we started getting into side-by-sides back in the Rhino days. I kind of was into rock crawling, and then my cousin got a side-by-side, and I was like, God, that's a lot of money for a toy. Like, it's not even a rock crawler. Like, what are you gonna do with that thing? I broke down eventually and bought a Rhino, and then it just kind of progressed from there. I was really bad at jumping at first, like terrible. The first jump I ever tried was at the Whiskey Throttle compound, and I endoed with my wife in the passenger seat, and it was a good time.
Nice. You probably slept on the couch that night.
Yeah.
All right. Tell me about this machine we got sitting behind us.
So this machine is a YXZ. Me and Clinton and Andrew and Jordan, we were pretty much the ones that built it. Me and Clint built most of it. We designed everything, A-arms, all the gussets, all the shock mounts, the geometry, seat mounts, everything was designed by us. Clint welded it all. I went and learned how to fab, I guess you'd call it, fit and fab. It was awful, but it turned out good, so it was fun.
Nice. So Sand Hollow wasn't your first event. Tell me about your other events. I heard you had a few little struggles on the way.
This year has been very rough for us. Last year in Sand Hollow was our first ever event that we competed in, and we took second. Ruslan beat us in that damn addiction car. But it was really fun. We brought the machine back, and we had some frame damage after that event. So we brought it back and we redesigned the front end this year, and then, or during the winter last year. We had the motor built so we could run a little bit more power, and then our first event was in Oregon, and it was just a shit show. The machine didn't run, we didn't even get to jump, it was bad. And then we went to Oklahoma, which was such an awesome event. I love that event so much. We almost didn't get to go. We were at Invasion the weekend before and finally got the car running, but it was coming into boost super, super late, like at 7,000 RPMs. And so we came home, put a different turbo kit on it, and then took off to Oklahoma. And the wind out there was just insane. We had like 30-mile-an-hour wind with gusts on top of that, coming straight at us. And the information I got before I jumped was Brandon Raddick. He was driving the addiction car. He took off and I saw just way nose high, and they told me that he hit the brakes, but the nose never came down. And so I was thinking, well, the only other way to bring the nose down is to try and flirt that power line to keep your nose down off the bat so it doesn't go high anyway. And I didn't give it enough throttle, and I hit the brakes, so we just buried the front end into the sand at that event. It was really fun, but really awful at the same time. So Sand Hollow was a big event for me because I wanted to redeem myself.
Nice. Tell me what it's like to be sitting there at the line getting ready to take off on that jump.
At the line, my nerves calm down. I get really nervous about an hour or 2 hours before we go jump. Once I'm there, my nerves kind of calm down, and I'm just there to do a job. Yeah, it's nerve-wracking, but you can't really think about it. That's why I love jumping, is there's so much adrenaline, and you have to be so focused on just the jump that nothing else in life matters. And so everything goes away. All your bullshit problems in life, it's just gone. You're just solely focused on a jump, and that's like the most free I can ever be. And that is right before you jump. And right as you take off too. So.
Okay, so tell me about the event. How'd the jump go? How'd you win?
The event was really awesome. I can't give enough shout outs to UTV Takeover. I mean, they just put on such a killer event. Jake built the jump, and dude, it was just awesome. Like, I was so thrilled with the jump. As we were getting ready to jump, there was like 30 competitors. I mean, just a ton. So I knew that the ramp was going to be just trashed. Like, after the first, you had one, maybe two jumps, and it was trashed, just trashed. And so I just was listening, and the first, I don't know, 4 or 5 cars that went before me didn't pile their shit up. So I was like, I'm just going to go as fast as I can off the lip, and just, if I break, oh well, I'm just going to get one good one in for sure while the ramp is still fresh. Because, you know, I was 5 or so back after the other 25 went. Who knows what the jump's going to look like. So come around, I start tearing off and tearing down the runway. It was a really short run up to the jump. And as soon as I left, I was like, oh yeah, this one's going to be a good one. And I had plenty of time to think in the air. As I was in the air, I noticed my nose going up. And I thought about touching the brakes, and I was like, nah, I screwed myself in Oklahoma. So we're just gonna ride this out. I'm gonna just let her go. And the back end hit, and then the front end hit, and I mean, most people have seen what happened to the front end. The shocks were absolutely tacoed. But it was a great jump, and it was enough to win.
How far did you go?
154. I think that's the longest jump at Huckfest this year.
All right, so you were one and done. You had a broke machine. So what was it like sitting there waiting for everybody else to do their second and third jumps?
It was torture, man. I first went up and hung out with my family for a little bit because they are so amazing, and they come out and sit on the line and cheer me on, and I had the best support group ever. So I went up and talked to them and hung out for a minute. And then people started getting really close. Like, there was quite a few of them that were hitting 40-ish mark, and I was like, okay, I gotta go down and sit on my marker and just make sure that if someone beats me, that it's true that they beat me. Not that I don't trust the UTV Takeover guys, but I just wanted to be down there. So I went down and sat down, and just time after time, I'm watching them come up, and I'm like, oh, and then they land short. I'm like, okay, oh, okay. And then it got to the point where it was Brandon's last jump, and I knew that he was the one that was gonna beat me, if anyone. He was driving the addiction car, and so I was like, okay, here he comes. And I'm like, he's coming up, and I see him come up out of the jump, and he's just completely, his driver's front is just tanking, and I'm like, oh no. He hits hard, drives out a little bit, and then starts to roll. And once he was done rolling, we all went over and talked to him, and he was fine. I think it knocked him out a little bit, for a little bit, but he was okay. And that was the most intense part, like just watching him come up, and I'm like thinking, is he gonna beat me? And then, no, he's not gonna beat me, but not happy because he's my buddy, and he's about to pile this machine up, and you can totally tell down there, like, oh, it's going, it's gone. And so for a minute there, I didn't even, you know, after I knew he was okay and stuff, then it kind of hit me like, oh man, this was probably the guy that was going to beat me, and he didn't beat me. So I have a really good shot. There's some other guys there that jumped real big too. I mean, real close. But yeah, that's kind of how I was thinking sitting down there.
Nice. So you got the one out of the way. You got the win you've been hunting. So what's next?
Well, we just got some new shocks for the machine. We went with Fox internal bypass. They're off of the Can-Am X3. So hopefully those, well, they've got a bit bigger shaft on them, and they're a little bit stronger. The internal bypass will work a little better for jumping. So hopefully they hold up a little better. We got to redo a couple things on the machine, and then next year we're going to be right back at it. End goal is to beat Al. I mean, Al's got the 215-foot jump, and it's going to take a lot, but that will be the end goal, is figuring out how to beat him. That takes a lot, though. I mean, someone's got to build me the right jump, the right landing, enough space. It can't have too many people hitting the jump. Like, it takes a lot. So I've got a lot of proving to do before then, but that is the end goal.
Awesome. Sounds like a fun adventure.
Yeah, it is. Lots of broken parts along the way. Lots of time spent in here. Yeah.
Anyone you want to thank?
Yeah, I got to thank the three people. Without these three people, it wouldn't even be possible. Clint, Jaden, and then my wife. Jaden and my wife, they are awesome. They put up with so much shit that me and Clint are always out in the shop fixing, upgrading, trying to make things better. They literally keep our homes together while we're out here. I guess you call it playing, but most of the time I don't feel like playing. Clint, there's no way I could do it without him. This machine would be a $150,000 machine and completely out of the realm of possibilities without someone like him and without his skills. And then the Whiskey Throttle crew, man, they support me like none other. I mean, they all went to Oregon with me. We all couldn't make it to Oklahoma, but we're all down at Sand Hollow. We go out all the time, and they're supporting me when we go out at the dunes and we're testing and jumping and sitting, and they all just are so amazing to support me. Without those guys, we couldn't do it. And there's a lot more than a lot of the people that support me. I consider the Whiskey Throttle crew, not just the ones that are always there with us. And now Clint's going to be jumping, so that'll be awesome because he'll push me a little bit farther, a little bit harder every time.
What other videos can we expect to come out in the future?
We've got asked a couple things about safety while jumping, what kind of safety equipment we use and stuff. So we're going to come out with a video on that. If you guys have any other questions about safety while jumping, make sure to hit us up. We haven't filmed that video yet. We will be doing it here shortly. We can cover anything from seats to harnesses to neck braces to frame, gusseting, any of that type of stuff. Just hit us up with what kind of questions you guys have. There's a lot of people that are starting to jump big, and I just want everyone to be safe. Like, we have really taken safety as our main focus with this machine, and I hope that everyone that's sending their machines big are as focused in safety as we are, because this stuff can go bad real quick.